Sanje chudan zoji jana la Jangchub dana chasanje Dagi chishi jebe zonamje Dola penchara sanje draparash Sanje chudan zoji jana la Jangchub dana chasanje Dagi chishi jebe zonamje Dalai penchara sanjen drapa sho sanje chedang zoji chana Shancha pada dana japsam che Dakai chishi jebe tonam Dalai penchara sanjen drapa sho. Good morning again.
Good morning, Geshe.
Good morning. Morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Very good.
Can you do it, little guru?
Very good. You're practicing.
The chanting masters, they do practice here, Anyway, it's wonderful to see all of you to survive, to even in a very pandemic, a difficult time for everyone, not just us. Problem, on the top of the problem, another problem, another problem, another problem, another problem, This is the nature of samsara. I think like extra samsara this year. No, last year we called extra samsara.
It's goodness. Yeah.
Therefore, but we all survive. We all handling that problem. It's a wonderful. Of course, in the world, there, many people don't believe any religions. And many people also against religions. Many people believe the religions. It doesn't matter. Same, everyone who don't believe religion also they, looking for happiness to, another way to be happy, to find. Then who also against religion also they're looking for, other way to find the happiness. Of course, with the religion, some religions too also that believe the creator, whatever we have good thing or bad things, the most, the someone and the creator or someone like give for us look for the experience like that. Then Buddhism, we say whatever we have good or bad, it's not depends for the Buddha, our own action, therefore, what Buddha did, Buddha just show, like in a shopping mall, you have so many things to buy, or you have to, go to the grocery store, you have so many things to buy, or you have so many restaurants, very healthy restaurant, very unhealthy restaurant, go to the every day, go to a hamburger. Then you go to some, very healthy restaurant, Buddha just give us, okay, if you go to eat hamburger every day, you become big. If you eat, the more vegetables or more food, then you become more healthy, like that. Buddha just give us that. Then depends what we eat. Same also the doctors say, say, okay, the kids don't eat too much candy. It's not good for you. Not too much candy, not too much chocolate, but we like chocolate. But the little girl, she is very contentment. She said, I have a lot of candies in my home. I don't need any more. That's good. We send, if someone give anything else, he say, yeah, even you have a lot of these, thank you. We just keep. It's good for the contentment. Like that, therefore, very important to ask to how Buddha, Dharma, Sangha are work for us. Exactly, Buddha just show us what different food we can eat. Then what is like, he's like, this is a Dharma and a virtuous action. That is a non-virtuous action. If you, body, speech, mind related with the non-virtuous action, you can experience, like you eat like hamburger all the time, you become big, you become heavy, you become, problems like that. If you eat, always, healthy food, is you become more healthy person. It's like that. Buddha said, like very simple way explain, like 10 non-virtues it's very important. I'm thinking, the 10 non-virtuous action, 10 non-virtuous actions are the essence of Buddha's teaching. It's essence of Buddha's teaching. You say, yeah, I know 10 non-virtuous action. Yeah, it's very simple way, but it's not simple. It's the most important. Therefore, Buddha said, okay, if you do that and you get result that, if you do that action, you get that result. Then up to you. He just keep example like, I can say, go to the restaurant. What you will eat, up to you. Then we can choose. This is like Buddhism, like experience like that way. Therefore, like sometimes people say 10 non-virtuous actions is too easy. I can understand, but yes, maybe you understand. We all understand. I'm not saying to you, we all understand, but it's very hard to, not follow the 10 non-virtuous actions. Therefore, with covetousness and wrong view, then what? LV. It's correct? Did I say correctly?
Envy.
Ill will.
Ill will.
Elvel. Yeah. Covetousness, elvel, then what is that? Heresy? Wrong view, yeah. Therefore, that three is related about our mind. This is the man, the poison, the covetousness, like attachment. Like say, we have one, that we need more. There's anything. If you have that kind of mind, then all the another 10, 3 related with the body, 3, 4, also related with the mind, they'll come. Your, elvel is same as that. Especially the wrong view, as usually Buddhism texts, they explain wrong view means, not believe the past, future life, or the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Yeah, that's correct. But not just only that. I think wrong view is a very, very strong self-grasp thought, our own view, our own belief, our own thought. Because someone that, someone said, this is a black pen. If someone said black pen, if you mind have this black pen, you say, this is a black pen, you black. Someone, no, this is a blue, this is a pink. No, this is not pink. Because our mind, the wrong view, very strong grasp of that thought. We don't want to give up. It's everywhere. We can see it right now. Right now, it's everywhere. This is when we have very strong that thought. We don't want to give up our own thought, our own view, our own belief. Therefore, if you have very strong that thought, then it can bring action for body or speech. You really think that way, and we just try to keep our body, speech, mind from 10 non-virtuous action. Then I think you don't need anything. Maybe say, no, I'm good, I'm not doing anything. I know, but maybe you don't do any body, but our mind, covetousness, evil, and wrong view, those thoughts in our mind always. Even we judge for others, okay. We didn't go to beyond our own belief. Right? But 남주 소소 그치 인삼바제로 소소 캐는 내 인삼죠. 디 출로로 파진 로고 말했어요. 출로 파진 다른 인삼지 다대 나를 대내는 것도 강가 저치기로 와.
So we have a very strong opinion, about something, and then we just believe that that's how things are, and we don't go outside of that, to check whether things are really like that or not. But we just stay inside that thought, and then judge outside, other things on other people based on that thought.
제가 가도 텔레판 로 표기에 말다. 잠보지는 로 표기에 마시네. 소소 삼서지로 남주 캐내지로 다라 대니 다라 인삼 다라 레 삼지 가도 티난 주이되거다.
So we don't dare to go outside of that. We always think that that's how things are. That's we just stay with that thought, thinking that's how things are.
제다나 소소 막가사지나 코 다라 같이 옛나야 그 가림가 가르쳐나 코 노르제 장장도 켈랭 그랬어.
And then because of that, when we have somebody we don't like, then no matter what he does, because our thought about that person is very strong of disliking him or her. Therefore, no matter what he does, he will still dislike that person.
다나 지금 소소 가사지나 가림가 가르쳐나야 코테 노르메발라 나도 티 잘로를 지금 십자로 쳐내야 코테 노르메가 나도 바르 그랬어.
And then same with the people we like. Somebody who we like, no matter what they do, we still like that person. And then even if that person does wrong, we try to bring all the reasons to prove that person is right.
제단 맨 노르조치 소소 마가스다 소소 따와만 마가스디 그 야포지 제나야 그 대대 제베레다 옛나 양세 양티 잘로라 코치 나도 키용 그랬다. 땡가로서 대 롱뷰 사디 티 키용 그랬어.
And so somebody who does that, who does a good thing or bad thing, depending on who you look the person as, somebody you like or somebody you don't like, And so then if you don't like the person, then you say, oh, even he did that good, but he isn't bad in this way and this way. So you still bring the reason, to think bad about that person.
Okay, 제가 대용사가 짜와대 나도 롱뷰 사디 되는 용거래.
And these are all the root of all these wrong thoughts that we have is from the wrong view.
제다 안에 지금 톱다 고사 땀다 년자 제다 벤줄라 딱 숙주 뭔가 되죠. 대 안에 나도 covetousness로 날섬 세대 용도로.
And so all that attachment that we have, for name and fame, for the status, for property, for possession, and so on, all comes from the covetousness.
그러와 근데 슈첸보여와 텔라 때네 아니 다 소소급이 아니 날섬 딱 소소 막가와 제대로 제네 소소 따와만도 제대로 제네 가지 아니 콜레야지 막가베 아니 남주 때야기 아니 다 날섬 세대 콜레양 그러와.
And then because of hating somebody or not liking somebody, and then thinking of how you can cause harm to that person, then that comes from the ill will.
제가 대대에 가도 메카실라고 맞다. 다디 가도 고백에 내다 간지 뇨모 두성고 양원의 절섬에 메시 신체 다디 톱되다.
And so as long as we are all under the influence of these three poisonous delusions, attachment, anger, and ignorance, then we're always doing these things in the wrong way.
제가 먹게와 치세데 아니 가도 추쇼내잖아. 아니 다 건조 개와이 제약이 고 가스탄도 치트도. 다 추면 캐밀이 간지 잠블이 첨로 차대요 그래서.
So for someone who believes in Dharma, the non-virgin, 10 non-virgin actions are something that blocks us or prevents us from doing good and having a good result in the future. And from the non-Dharma perspective, then we can say this is some kind of immoral acts.
제당도 로존나야 열섬 두섬 개사섬셔와 근데 여도 홍와 모홍와 발마 섬라때네 아니 대차셔다 무슨 계결에 생각다 단소 권내가 제도로.
And so just like it is said in the the mind training text, so there's 3 objects, 3 poisons and and 3 virtues. So like the 3 objects these are like the friends, enemies, and the strangers. And then based on that, then we have 3 poisonous delusions or afflictive emotions towards them: anger, and attachment, and ignorance. So these are very important, just like it is said in the text.
제가 다 가도 노동자고 가래 고공도서나 만조 다 시다 샹치고 샘고와 동반이 고매야 아니 라이 나조 고마스마다 빼면서 내가 첨보다 레다이나 텐데 게 마요나 아니 수수고 샘 링아여도 먹기 저거 양화도 결근 누도문데 대다치 전에 그래서 대 적은 누나 안될때 정말 총다에 탑시해야 돼 다는 거라셔.
So in short, what we have to understand is that although all this practice of bodhicitta, emptiness, the deity yoga and so forth are very important and very good thing to do, but basically most important thing for us to be sure about is to find out whether we are creating any non-virtuous actions or not through our body, speech, and mind. And if we are, then immediately applying an antidote to purify that or to prevent that.
제가 맞아 간도 변나 칼라로 왜나 쇼나 간도 칼라티 셴보 요바 수보라 펜와 제텔라 마네바 아니 다시 강게 야강가 고르 봤어.
And so for example, like when we're eating food, we prefer the food that is delicious, right? And that is also good for your body and doesn't harm your health.
다 텐데 맞아나 간제 아니 수수 제텔라시라 마노게 심보시라 메나 도자 이사네 사이는 되게로.
But even if you can't find all those qualities in the food, at least if it doesn't harm your health, if it fills your stomach and doesn't harm your health, even though it's not very delicious, that's good enough, right?
Okay. 오다 대지와 다 남주 가서 냠내 도도 챙에도 다 소소 온보람제다 소소 로존라 템베 람라 치야다 용탈라 만주 소소 셈데 먹게 저기 양화도 적은도 만도 티나니 이지 먹게 왔으면 빼는 거라 이지 먹게 왔으면 그노 챙에면나 리지 먹게 와 용거 말에 나고 먹게 와 용거 말에서 그노 챙에 되게 차되게로 와.
And so depending on your level of understanding, knowledge, and how much practice you can do, and depending on that, of course, you can do all the practice you can. But basically, what is most important, is, like I said, to make sure that you don't create any of the 10 non-virtuous actions, and especially the 3 from the mind, the covetousness, ill will, and wrong view. Because if you don't have those 3 from the mind, then you won't be creating 4 from the speech and 3 from the body.
제 대마쳐봐야나 아니 소소그 깨체네 아니 미젬발라 아니 지 리다선다 강에 책 말해.
And if we don't create any of those 10 non-virtuous actions, then we can be very assured that we will not be causing any harm to others.
다 나중에 게 아니 지 소소소 가디나 셈바 마치바 대대 이거 말해.
And also you will not be unhappy.
오케이. 오다 땡아도 배나 도동라고 되다. 다 어디지? 다
That's
지네.
in short.
오케이. 당아도 곰자네. 다 가서 곰자대 같이 셔 빠네. 나도 신의 곰가라 양 나도 딱 계산 디갑라 나도 산지 좀 된데 그 군라시 나도 곰자가 여러 대 미잖아. 대 인지미지 대체고 말아. 남주 소속을 배나 샴바 니지 샤주고 섬 야만나치 신의 대선으로 가래 소속 곰 다나 디 간라 곰잡네 아니 신의 곰나 곰 죽고 요래서.
So then now we're going to go back to do our meditation on karma abiding. Like I said last time, you have to choose the object, of your meditation on karma abiding. And we talked about choosing Buddha Shakyamuni's statue and as an object. but you can choose other the thoughts as well as an object, like loving kindness, compassion, renunciation. Any of these things you want to choose as an object or karma binding, you can choose, and through that you can actualize karma binding.
제자 아니 단다 신의 검가라 열라 제와진 제야말 이 다른 갈라 샘티 갈라 내내 되고 되는 거 제주 잡고 그래서.
So the most important thing, to think, to make sure, is to not analyze the object. So don't analyze the object. Don't think about other things. Just, fix your mind on that object.
대저 대리가 아니 신의 마음에 내라야 고직다 즉 세워 영화치도 고자 제금 제초로 있나 신의 냠바 샤베 갑라야 아니 가네나 sometime 고 다른 갈라 샘 대답시. 야 샘테는 이 로건도 따 샘이르나 양조 추고 안디가나 두잔되고.
So of course, at the beginning you can do the analysis, to understand more about the object, right? You can do the analytical meditation or contemplation on that point. So once you have done that, then you come to the conclusion saying, yes, this is how it is, and then that's where you put your mind there. And then also remember, if your mind is being distracted, or moving away from that object, if you find that, it's important to find that out. If you don't know, then you will be going away and you won't be doing the meditation. So it's important to find out, and once you find out, then bring it back again. Bring your mind back to that object again.
근데 얘들아 세보다 담보고 그래 히바도 세워야 돼 담보 섬고 변한 가서 락발이야 추차옥 값강 섬되는 것도 삽접식 제거로 그 저거저거 했습니다. 삽접식 되네라고 그거 요새.
So it is important, to have that clarity and stability, of the object. So just like I mentioned before, holding a hot-boiled water, a cup of hot-boiled water in your hand, you will be very, focused. You'll be very careful to not spill it and so forth. So just like that, you have to hold your object very strongly.
어제 대제다 다 신나공갈라 지나서 나도 신나공 고쳐갈라 지나서 남주 가리 겁난 저거래서 인심지 나도 라야다 산지 좀 되게 근데 검사대 땅에 시행하고 투모지 시작하면 남주 소소 검댕이 되나 소소 강 검에 다가가 시작한 적이 그러다.
So you can, like I said, you can meditate on any kind of object, to actualize karma binding. But in general, that's what we use, the Buddha Shakyamuni statue, or any Buddha statue. So for special reason, you can use that. But whatever other topics that you meditate on, then you can just take that as an object. But keep that one object all the time. Don't change the object.
뭐야 다도 당아도 담보 운종고 코로나다 신화 투모게 냠내 간제 셈바마 코로나 로 짜다 롱건 로통에 전에 셈바마 흘러 영화기 고 잘라지래도 오세.
And so first we start with the breathing meditation. So breathing meditation is a common technique, of both Buddhist and non-Buddhist practitioners. So this is like a special device, to calm your mind.
제가 안에 나도 안에 셈게 아니 시바데 롱게 시바 짜요라다. 제가 롱도 야 콘로당 전에 시바 고삼 지원도 있어 봐.
And so because our mind is supported, by the wind, and so so depending on where the wind moves, the mind can move towards that.
그때에서 그 내가 데려다가도 우주가 담보변화 가시 테마 노파 우땅으로 소소 파 땅게 요삼 아니 진짜 소소변화 수보는 거 우차상 파다 야 주용을 볼까야 우차상 변화 소소변 수보가 따다 줄거 송삼 도치네 파다 수 따다 수 도치네 나도 테마 같이 공부이다.
And so when you meditate on the breath, you follow the breath. Your mind follows the breath, whatever the breath. And so when you're breathing out, your mind thinks, breathing out. When you're breathing in, your mind, think that you're breathing in. So when you breathe out, imagine, breathing out all of the breath. So emptying your body completely of all the breath. And then when you breathe in, take all the breath and fill the whole body with the breath like that. So imagine like that. And so we're going to start with the breathing meditation like that.
야 당에 담보 동물가라 아니 무슨 주고 되고 이바 동물가라 다 수수 지내 거면 수수 무바 가래 공원 다하러 그는 거 까마 쫑아 대봐 인다.
Okay, for the first ring, meditate on the breathing, your breath, and then the second ring, then you start your actual meditation on cow biting or on using whatever object that you choose to use.
다샘 다라 갈라 되네야. 아니 샘도 팔란로 맞죠. 가서 라나 양주 취코 오다시.
And so so like I said, try to focus or fix your mind to that object, and if the mind goes away, then quickly realize that and then bring it back and then bring it back again. So if it goes, bring it back. If it goes, bring it back like that. You might have to do that many times.
아니 지금 샘말 흘려 nhập 돈다고 전에 양 세워셔라 맨날 양 텐트게 말이야. 거야 세워서 그래서.
And then again, if your mind becomes a little bit of dull or lazy, and then your object is not very clear, then you have to realize that again also, and then do something to like make the object clear to your mind again.
Okay. Therefore, this time is the best time to meditation for Kamabari because you're your room. No one bother you. If someone bother you can then clock that. You can close your door. Whatever you like. Therefore, in a public place, we say meditation Kamabari means we try that. It's not everyone's same position. Then very difficult. This time is the best way. We just try to do guiding meditation is meant for all of you to do something, effort. Okay, ready? When you have meditation, try to not drink water. Okay, if you want to drink water, don't know. 배낭도 나들 서울 갑라야 아니 게모쇼뇨게 말했어. 아니 총살에 뚜루 다 조금 더 왔어. 또 가지 그 검거 땅라 쉬어도.
So, like when we're reciting mantra, especially like when you're doing a retreat, during that time when you are when you come to the point where you accumulate the mantra, and accumulate the recitation of the mantra, and then that time you have to like focus on the mantra, and not supposed to like talk or even laugh, at that time, and and then very strict rules like not even what do you say, let the gas out. So even that, is restricted. So for a special reason like that.
나도 리아제 좀 말하다가 제 와서 대체는 아니 아주 안 거는 싸고 그랬더니 여러분.
And then also not allowed to yawn. If you do, like if you're doing a mala of mantra and then you got into the middle of the mala, if you yawn, then you have to go back to the beginning again and then do it again. So like that. So same with laughing and releasing gas like that.
제가 그 던져 그 가르다 나다 자다 루다 담수 고단도 다 제사리.
So that's to do with the like the winds and the channels, the commitments and so forth. Yeah.
Okay. First breathing meditation. It's too long. Java nablengo, Java karo, Java nabjango le lawan des. Ani nyana da chomba, ani shewe yala nyamba chane, ani shanshu samba tu, tacha nyamba chama de ya lagu du, ya lagu, chinto teneta ure soe.
So, like the healers and soldier riders, when they gain their liberation, they go into absorption for eons and eons, and they have to be waken up, by the bodhisattvas to wake up and to start working for the benefit of other sentient beings. Were you guys who were like that? How to wake up?
Okay, this is like every day we do a little meditation, that's how to analytic also the shamatha. Then now we go to the Riyat Lobjong. First, in order to successful practice, and we have to follow, or we have to get a very good understand a Guru devotion. So sometimes we talk about Guru devotion, look like you have to listen me. It's not like that. If you have very strong and the person, you trust that person, you follow their advice. And you don't have trust the person, you don't follow the advice. Therefore, if you have very trust your teacher, whoever you have trust, then the mind also follow the advice. Therefore, we need to develop Guru devotion, very important. Therefore, also, if you have very strong Guru devotion, then also all the obstacles to go away. Then there are a couple of steps to remember. We're going to continue meditation. You guys, on the meditation, Tamchin, I'm just very deep explain. Otherwise, all the times go there, okay? And that's also to Yamne Yapo Yawa Cheda, and Shinya Tensa Topa Yapo Yingela Chet, Jawa show Jawa the Chinjaloro na se teach some good.
And so, in order for my practice to be successful, to be good, may I be blessed by the gurus, by the guru deities. Please bless me, guru deities like that.
And Shinya Tensa Topa Yapo Yingela Jawa Jago do some good.
And especially in order to generate a good realization of the guru devotion in my mind.
Chanazo that some two Chima Gomja when it parted into my show. Now the Carlo Chanama Samata to Samata.
So this is what you're supposed to think, okay? So just like and I explained, I'm explaining this one by one. Then you just think like that. You do the meditation in that way.
Okay.
And it top cover militant bochi, Apochi military water, and then military tones and mother watching, Peche Apotangi, some codes.
And then this profitable river that I have achieved now, which is extremely difficult to achieve, I have achieved now, and will not waste it. Instead, of make good use of it.
And Taya, Tiri, Tandaran and go to Yamato, Miyapochete, any carrying out of condition to the Nasakadeleon Hakomeda, and the Tandaran goes some code, Chawamatakum codes.
That I will do it from right now, and start making the good use of this body by practicing Dharma from right now. As I don't know when I will be stricken by any kind of diseases and end my life. So therefore, I'm going to do it from right now.
대양 소속의 랭amba 사바이나 아니 소속 시와나 레트 멘토가 말들다 양주 개와시마 레트근데 동안 용거와 인자 아니 가디나 간제 아니 소속의 샘 대차셔다 등고 양와도 맞지와 지기 있어.
And so whatever karma we have created, even if we die, this karma will still continue with our consciousness, and we'll have to experience the result of those karmas in the future. And therefore, from now on, I'm going to make sure to not follow these afflictive emotions and create non-virtuous actions.
오야 다대 샹치고 샘 고미하고 년도치 다 이제 샹치고 샘 정war라 당도 다제 냠제 공고요레스 가장 공되기와.
So that's the preparatory practice, for the actual practice of bodhicitta, of generating bodhicitta. And so, in order to generate bodhicitta, we do that through now through equalizing and exchanging self with others.
아니 담발레게 간제 샘sem 버토마드네 샘제 참아 대왕지 등하면도 봐 징토레 삼고레스.
And so, first, think all beings are equal as oneself. Including the ants and insects, like in wanting to be happy and not wanting any suffering.
아니 대내다 라다시 참아라 지 아니 둥아 땡에 강에 땡에 기보면 봐 성에다 라치바도 젠데들에 샤스면 아니 되게 젠 쩐데 상당고 그래서.
Then think about all the disadvantages of cherishing oneself. That all the problems and all the sufferings that we experience as ourselves and cause others to experience is all by self-cherishing attitude.
아니 라제 참아지 대바다 기보요가기 다시 말타르보다 젠체마도 젠데들에 샤스면 아니 젠 샘제 젠지 템섬에 섬다 당고 그래서.
And then think that all the happiness that oneself and others is experiences and comes through cherishing others. Therefore, I shall always cherish others.
아니 대행가도 가디나 아니 라장장 삼도래 아니 다 데리는 곳에 라데 제니는 거나 라 야바트로 제 좋은 점이 연삼배 오토스 공고 그래서.
And normally, we always oneself and ignore others. But because of that, we're creating experiencing all these problems. So therefore, from now on, I'm going to ignore myself and only cherish others.
아니 대내 아니 니지 뭐바 싸데 대내 아니 지 소소고 간제 체들 소소라 까디체베 섬체 간데 이제나 디가 아니 링아 여든지 둥아 강에 강 연바데 아니 소소라 투 랭기 예삼고레 소소라 몸바 쇼고 삼고레.
And then now, on the basis of developing compassion towards others, imagine taking all the sufferings of other beings upon oneself.
아니 소소jel라 개와다 레파 야비샤 강 요바데 제 샘젤라파 몸바 쇼고 삼가니 샴베메 바타데 되는 공고레.
Then, on the basis of having developed loving kindness, imagine giving all the happiness, all the virtues to others.
아니 대 쇼가라 당이 단다 코 샘네 삼바타마도 오네데 제거도 제토면도 다 나라가 땡오네 나라라가 제고도 샘베 아니 샘나 삭섬 슈치모 제고레스.
And then after that, develop strong spiritual intention, thinking that I myself will do that to bring happiness and eradicate their suffering.
근데 영화라 아니 샘제 참여체다 사제 공부하고 도 삼백의 샘 아니 지금 영화 샘라 지금 초월랭이 지게나 아니 샹첩 샘 제로레스.
And in order to be able to do that, I must achieve instead of enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So develop that thought, wanting to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So if you can catch some feeling while thinking that, then that you have developed some level of bodhicitta.
오케이. 와다트는 마 아니 이 자주 샘 제와트 된다고 이 말이야. 근데 이제 곰네 샹자고 샘 깨다도 제 젠제명아데 염나 다제니 비제네 선바타네 수수 샘나 치 되게 선모데 땅에서 샘나 치 초반에 내거나 아니 샹자고 샘딱 대게용 따라서 대배잖아 열.
So that's how you develop bodhicitta. So either you by contemplating on the sevenfold cosmic instruction, or by contemplating on equalizing and extending self with others. When you come to that point where you wish to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, so if you get a special feeling, some intense kind of feeling, when you think about that, then that's the sign that you are developing some bodhicitta.
배차잖아 가서 잠잠 지금 소소된 대화면 가서 좀 더웠는데 로와이나 아니 좀데 로니 배차데 로이까야 소소를 믹스긴 잠잠 양치 샘로 초바 미는 치마 좋아도 근데 초래기도 근데 더래 거기다.
So just like when you're reading stories or watching movies, you get emotional, even though it's nothing to do with you, but just by looking at other person's story, you get emotional and you get like tears from in your eyes and goosebumps in your body. Then that's the kind of feeling you should have when thinking about developing the bodhicitta.
Okay. 제가 단에 장보름 비치 반나 샤접섬 콜라야 칼로나서 like and something and 장보름 비치 shum고도 와. 오다 땡 샤접섬 제고 따다스. 아주 미는 치마도 봐. 릴레 바쁘죠 같은 경우도 왔어.
So your emotion becomes so strong towards the sufferings of other beings, and wanting to eradicate that so strongly that you become very emotional, and then you get tears from like His Holiness. Whenever he's explaining or talking about bodhicitta, he always cries. So that's the sign of having bodhicitta.
제가 Lama Zopa Rinpoche 남주 칼롭 나베 칼라야 샘칭의 둥아 되는 mambo 손에 잠잠에 칼롭 주는 만화 앞에 까마치 정아 슈데도 와. 오다 디카블스 아니 투랑오니 샹접섬 다 가로 총고열에서 가지.
And so like Lama Zopa Rinpoche, when he's talking about the sufferings of other beings, like he talks in the suffering of other beings, and then suddenly he goes quiet, for 10-15 minutes. And that time he's like really deeply contemplating on compassion and bodhicitta.
제가 간돌라 지 샘체가 대화시나 좋아시면 등하시나 좋아스게 레금도 와.
In our case, we don't get any feeling whether we hear about the sufferings of the sentient beings or whether we hear about the happiness of sentient beings, right?
다 오늘 소소 가르치려는 테니 다 가르치고서 아니 근데 시나래기도 와서 이제 대다 라체부터 비첸다 아니 라첸도지 견다 아니 젠첸도 연대사대 다다 납식 가르치 제식 매 디가 가로 니바데하고 용어면 따라와.
But when it befalls on oneself, then we get freaked out and so what should I do? How do I get out of my sufferings, and how do I get out of my problems like that? So that's the sign that we are not at that level to be able to equalize and exchange self with others.
오케이. 다 드네 올라다 가도 쟁에 샹잘로면 제가 가다 뭐 쉬자이 봤다. 쟁에 샹잘로 가지 내리 냠내 집에 갈아야 티발라 참으려 강에 뭐 보태게 간지 강에 종화대 수수고 냠내 제와대 흐르마도 제고 그래서.
So now we're talking about the converting the unfortunate circumstances into the path to enlightenment, right? And so what does that mean? Basically, is that when we're doing practice, we'll face with so many kind of difficulties, problems, obstacles. And at that time, those obstacles and problems and pain or suffering should not bother us and prevent us from doing our practices.
제가 아니 깽에 개회 꿀마에서는 빠졌다는 요래서와 가지 깽한 바지 손은 가도 개와 탱그레스 근데 갑라야 다 깽가 맞았다 오 단데 나야 나랑기 네 사샤베 랭인지 레버레샤 당갈라야 추체쇼 곰잡쇼 삼베 나다 다땅도 삼고 요래스.
And instead, we should use those conditions, those bad conditions, to enhance our practice. So just like that, like it is said that the adverse condition, is the one that makes us to do practice. So whenever we're facing some problems, and then that makes us to do some practice. So when we are facing some fear or suffering, then we say, at that time we think about the Dharma, and then makes us to think about practice Dharma. So therefore, it says that those kind of adverse conditions are like like the condition that induces us to do practices.
제가 난 까데메 라마들 두 소리다. 깼나 마가 두나 가스. 깼나 녀서 손음세 두나 랭 득접 장스 오토 소리스.
And so when we are faced, we're faced with problems, and then we can just think, this is something that is expected to happen because I myself created the non-virtuous action in the past. So because of that, I'm experiencing this result like that. By thinking like that, we ease our mind and don't panic and so forth. So that helps. And just like the Kadamba masters says that I'm happy if I am suffering. I'm not happy if I'm happy, because so when I'm happy, then I'm using up my merits. Yeah, and but when I'm unhappy, then I'm purifying my negative karma. And so I'm happy when I'm unhappy, and I'm not happy when I'm happy.
제가 다 단답이나 대상 군두고 송도 장고를 못 제가 다 나산데 쇼한테 다 소소 샘지 슌득에 레레스 아니 송도 와.
So just like that, His Holiness also says that this pandemic, that everybody in the whole world is going through, is a way to purify our negative karma, and it is the result of our general karma of all beings who are going through this.
제가 두두 삼바이나 안주시나 콘도 체와라 모고 체와라 야나가 체와라 생각도 칼락 당겨로 다때 주쇼는 콘드기 메레스 대 당가도 소소 내 사샤베 레리 다다 단다데 레다 단데 갑라 멤버데 야포 총송 삼나다 징에 샤절라도 로기요레스.
And so when this happened, we always blame on others, right? We don't think about karma, result of our own karma, but we rather blame on others, saying that this is because of China, because of people didn't control this, they should have stopped all this things. We always blame on others for things happening, bad things happening to us. So
good job. Say hello everyone.
So yeah, so we always blame on others for this to happen. Even now, we blame on others.
제가 아니 냠레 정해지 다 냠레 바지나 사람들이 다 메. 다데 가라서 가지 해 사셔베 랭인데 버지. 다 다데 레데 다데 메바데 야보쇼. 다 내단 데이터를 랭가 수요 마사고 쇼섬. 스지가 마사와 용어쇼 다 삼고 그래서.
So this is the non-Dharma practitioners way of thinking, right? But as a Dharma practitioner, we should we should think that this is the result of the negative karma that I have created in the past, and so by experiencing this now, I have purified my negative karma. So, and then and I will not create such kind of negative karma again in the future, and may any other beings not experience such kind of results in the future.
어떻게 다 가서 뒤내려야 등하도 다시 냠적고 먹을라 연지 동안 가라 멤버쇼 내 대화 잘라 멤버쇼 다 총성 가란가 레바나지 접송 아니 삼 가와공고 그래서 아니 대전나 쏘는 거 졸랍죠 라보지 사기서 봐.
And as we do the meditation or practice of taking and giving, where we take the sufferings of other beings upon oneself, then now think that, oh, I've been able to take the suffering. So when you're going through this suffering, then think that this is the suffering of others that you've been wanting to take upon yourself. Now you are experiencing it. So it's really good that I've been able to take the suffering. Now they're free from suffering by my experiencing this suffering. So thinking like that, you can be happy, rejoice.
Oda jengen shanchang lamdu jersade dodo chena kanje jengen ba kanje ji shomba yena ti ge jenjin susu ge nyamne de ane pa la ma do wa de semju cha ma do wa chi jengen ba kanje shona tan de ngala ya o ta gewa che sho lap ko do nge chi nor du lap ko ti ta re sha as o te ko len kun te jene dgi gore.
So when we talk about the converting, converting the adverse conditions into the path to enlightenment, that's basically is whenever bad things happen in our life, that should not cause us to stop our practices or lose our practices. And instead, and it should enhance our practices by thinking just like we thought about earlier.
Oh, ane doje de some ane 아니 다 나중에 티가봐야 아니 못다바임베 라제 못다베 라제임바 다음에 바 라제임바 근데 그때 섬다 거래 난도 간제 아니 지 강연들에 가려면 다고 못다베 라제다 고 갈래 야만 두르 야만 야도 간제 매도거래 섬들에 섬다 거래.
And at that time also is helpful to think about the impermanence and the selflessness and so forth, because like when you think about the impermanence, then it will just ease your mind by thinking that this is not going to stay there forever. It will get worse, it will get better, so it will not be there all the time. Same, like when we think about the problem, we think that this is going to be there solid forever. It's not like that. It's going to go away. So when you think like that, the moment you think like that, then your mind will be much more calmer.
다 강로 삼로 땅다 갈라 강 쇼와테 삼베저서 삼로 땅다 골라야 강 쇼와다 같이 맞지 젠데기 쩌레샤스 아니 따베 고는 저 삼발라 아니 다 소소 삼라치가 라제메 바다 다메 바다 못다베 고와테 티콜라 삼다 땅고 요에 말이지.
And so from the conduct's point of view, when you think about these problems, then you can think that this is all a result of my own negative karma, and I'm experiencing it, and I'm getting rid of it now. So it's very good, thinking like that. You can rejoice, and then from the view point of view, from the view's point of view, you can think that these are all selflessness. It's only imputed by my mind. It's emptiness or selflessness or the impermanence like that.
다 아니 담아대 다 요에 가는 아니 요와지대 탑지 줘도 예배나 아니 촉사바 드바정와 아니 좀발라 돈마바바 아니 추조란 틀레 좋았을 텐데 요래 빼잖아. 단데 자상요는 가시로 와. 간제 되네 그거. 간제 수수 냠내 야보 용화가 체다 아니 조사도자 야보 제 그거 그랬어.
And then and talks about converting the the unfortunate circumstances through action, and so there it talks about teaching the practice to be applied to your whole life, like the criteria. So there shidi
촉사바 드바정와 아니 좀발라 돈마바바 추조란 틀레 좋았어요.
So there are 4 types of actions involved, right? So it says collecting the merit, and purifying the negativities, and giving ritual cake to the elementals, and invoking the good works of the Dharma protectors. So those are the 4 actions. So like converting unfortunate circumstances into path.
다들 가르치고나 조사도자가 다 소소라치 아니 다 대위죠 아니 초사쇼 저와 소소라치 문제비 동아들의 강의들의 태백깔라 가르쳐면나 당가 대위가 저 초사도자 제쇼 선배 다른 우삼고래 대삼을더니 아니 소소 라당 컨트롤은 조바베가 겐달라 녀가셔봐 어떻게 고래스.
And so when you when you are facing this kind of difficulties, then it says, so this is because of lacking merit, So now it's giving me a hint, to accumulate more merit, and so for that, then you accumulate merit by making offerings, to the 3 jewels, to the sanghas, and then by practicing generosity, towards the poor and so forth.
아니 되지. 아니 다 아니 들어가자고 그래서 아니 연락 가는 또 비제단 대배권에는 소수가 아니 들어가자고 그래서.
And then the purifying the obscurations or negativities, so then you purify by engaging in that practice of purification on the basis of the four opponent powers.
다들 그거를 간전 소설을 지금 링아였으면 지금 먼저 강의로 오신 걸로 당가라야 제가 대화도게 되나 아니 대화 모여 제때 아니 득발에 먹여발에 대빵하시 요님에 다른 두 삼고 그래서 대삼네 아니 소소가 지금 센더에 지금 약간 노조들의 제나 안테는 좁아지고 그래서.
And so when you are facing some difficulties or pain or suffering, then they should think that, oh, this is the sign that I have created negative karmas, and it's because of the negative karma that I've created, I'm facing these kind of problems, and so I have to engage in the practice of purification to purify these negative karma, so that I will not have to experience the results in the form of sufferings. So at that point, then you think about the negative karmas that you have created, those that you can remember, think about them, and then generate strong sense of regret towards them for having created those negative karmas.
다 된대게 예바다 다야가 제대 아니 꼼쫄아 잡선도 봐 장제고 샘고바 동반이 공바 아니 중가 많이 이루라서 다 당고요 말이지.
In order to purify those negative karmas, then you have to engage in the practice, in the power of the antidote. So for that, you can do any kind of practice, reciting mantras, reciting prayers, or meditating on loving kindness, compassion, emptiness, and so forth. So whatever practice you do, that becomes the antidote, to purify that negative karma.
아니 되네 다 다네도 되네 니 봤다는 제게 매sembe 아니 가로 이번에 랍도베 답까지 걔네도 어쩌고 그랬어.
So then that's the power of antidote, and then you have to do the practice on the power of promise. And so where you then after having done that, then it says, I'm not going to create this kind of negative karma again, even at the cost of my life. Like that, by thinking like that, then you make a promise to not create that. And that's the power of promise.
어디 다 되지 아니 담봉하러서 같이 songo 아니 조사 접장제서 와서 조사 받아 다 되네 정보를 또 지나도 바지 도나 전제변 라마 소바 린포체 더 페베칼이야 아니 나가라 가로 또 맞다가 와 저도 주도하게 와 저도 통역해 gemba서 하고 저도 바지 하고 더 가지 정보를 또 맞아 두서라 그랬어.
And then so those are the first two, right? The first two actions, accumulating merit and purify the negativities. And then the third action, is giving ritual cake to the elementals. Like elementals could be here, the Nagas, making offerings to the Nagas. So I don't know if you noticed, when Lama Zopa Rinpoche was here at the center, he make like a dharma offering, he make a little ball with the dough from the flour, a roasted barley flour, and then you offer that. So that's making offering to the elementals or the Nagas.
간제 된대죠. 간제 된대라 아니 두소양 소탄 아니 메다 마마에 된대 간도 많통 같이 간도 추셔라 바치청에 된대 용어 쓰기 그래. 된대서 두소라야 삼도 니오래. 제가 투제체 제나게 갈아야 추셔와라야 네 바치면 뭐 제송스 아니 되게 전에 추셔 야보 종소 투제체라 되네 삼치 당하요 그래서 다 됐다 마도나 당에 추셔와라 제가 바치 마체로 나세 오투지 바삼 당겨 그래서.
And so those are like the spirits, the Nagas and the spirits, the non-human beings who come and cause problems to our practices. And so for that, then you make offerings to them. So please take these offerings, and so there's two ways of thinking. So one is like, and to say thank you for creating all those problems for me. Because of those problems, and and I was forced to do more practices. So thank you for that. So if you are not able to say thank you, then at least you can say, oh, please don't bother. Don't bother me. Don't create any obstacles or problems for me to do my practices. And for that, I'm going to offer you this torma.
오늘 바치데 가디고서는 간도 셈나도 알레 빼차샤와나 빼추주샤나 니 사님만 가야 너는 로그메 약간의 쇼카도 삼나 다때 바치데레 너 바치데네 용거레스.
So what kind of problems, obstacles do you get then? So what kind of obstacles? So like, for example, on Sunday morning you wake up and say, oh, today I'm very tired. I don't want to go to class. I don't want to go to listen to Dharma class. So if you think that, then that's the obstacle.
제자 알레 다 드링가 칸데 치야데 때 요르당게 스칼레 카간도 삼나 다 딕 바치데 데레스.
So, and then you also think, oh, I'm very tired today. I'm going to reduce my practice a little bit today. I'm going to reduce my practice a little bit today. If you think like that, then that's the obstacle.
Oh, that purchase there, man. Gola Ragoyong, Papa Condendo Suchi Mares.
So that's the obstacle, we're talking about. It's not like somebody out there, with a big horn on their head. Rushing at you and doing something bad to you like that. It's not like that. It's not something solid, obvious like that. Those thoughts are the obstacles.
아니 두우제 아니 다 아니 대체 아니 조마라 돌마도 아니 담마데 추쇼라 아니 틀레 줘와서다 야 소소가 텐데 아니 지금 야 단다 사람다 지바레스 추조사다 야 가서 단다 지도 추조 따서야 다 가로 달마 프로젝트도 오치체도 어떤 소리스 야 아니 저랑기 아니 나래 땡에 받지 뭐볼 아니 가로 요한테 야부총소 돼야 되는 게 개와 야부총 제가 총소 투지체라에 지다 대마저나 아니야 얘기 아니 샘적이 된다 아니 개와체 발라 아니 땡에 받지 뭐요 뭐 조단 틀린 노로치세 아니 두지체기 그래서.
And then the fourth one is invoking the good work of the Dharma protectors. Invoking the good work of Dharma protectors, or requesting the Dharma protectors, to bless you or to do things for to make the things good for you, like that. And then also here you can also think in two ways. If you're more courageous, then you can say, "Oh, thank you for helping me to get all these problems. By facing this, I've been able to purify my negativities, and I've been able to do more practice. So thank you for helping to create more problem for me." Then if you can't think like that, not courageous enough to think like that, then you can just think, please help me to not have any of these problems, any obstacles in my life, so that I will be able to smoothly do my practice. So for that, then you make offerings to the Dharma protectors.
먼저 주소 프레나 요래 먼저 바델라모다 아니 가론 공부고 때바들이 더 소리했어.
And so there's a place to Pandel Hamo and Mahakala, right, in our center prayer book. And so those are the prayers that we pray to the Dharma protectors to invoke for their good works.
강트르티 도도 제와이나 아니 소주고 로종은 냠네데 야보 조야가 쳤다 아니 간지 초사들자 제고래서. 아니 대 초사들자 야보 영화 치대 양아도 조단 틀레 쟁이로 바칭에 거다 아니 또마 핑요래서.
And so anyway, in short, in order for our practice of the mind training to be successful and to be free of obstacles, we have to create merit and purify negativities. And for it to be successful, again, we need help from others, and therefore we make offerings of the torma to the elementals and to the Dharma protectors.
간상아도 컴퍼니에서 다 보스 다 레카 비 컴퍼니 진다도 저거 레카 중에 구구여 봐. 가야 될 거라 코나게 레카도 야포 영화게 쳇 그 말라구여 봐서.
뭐야? 그래서
미다 코나게 레카도 야포 영화게 쳇 아니 다 메레 레카 구구여 봐. 말라구서 말까.
No. So it's just like a company boss, making the employees to do the work. By giving them something, So basically he wants his, company to do good, his company to make money. So for that, he's giving wages and so forth, to his employees. Something like that, yeah. Applies or not?
Pena company jenda Chen-mo to pena soso 페라와 나지 아니 딜레가 칭가 가가 때나 공원이 펜독체들 말세. 나 소소 라와 나지 내가 칭도 제가 말해. 대만자데 코 코는 내가 야보요 제다니 콘돌라 간지 내가 그거요.
걸어 나와나지 고절 때나
제가 아니 따대고는 야보래. 가는데 코동은 펜독체가 왔어. 콘돌 펜비치도 제가 왔어. 제가 코라 나와는지 콘도 맞춰야 돼. 가지 코나가 라포 내가데 컴퍼니 야보요 제대 미 파조다 가로 하나 로바코로 와.
So like the company boss, or the owner, doesn't give all the money to the employees. He doesn't give them as much as he makes, right? And he only gives them a little bit, to make them work for him so that he can make more money. I'm not saying that's bad, but that's how the business is, right? If you want to do a business, you have to think about the profit. So otherwise, you will go bankrupt, right?
제가 총바사에 고 삼만 뭐 땅 거리 때 가르게 니 파조라 팬도 어때서 용이 소소라 개상 있고 총 총바사에 돼 삼로 야보다나 고총 야보 용다 삼로 야보는 총급 되려고.
So the businessman has to think carefully. He has to think about his benefit, his profit, and also he has to think about others, right? If he doesn't think, in an equal way, in a nice way, in a both way, then there will be loss in his business.
어제도 다 배팅 하다 땡이 총바대 컴퓨터 누가 라게 말다 다 배팅도 오러 왔어. 진짜 코랑기 총 야보 용하기 체다 아니 미션발라 콜레가 저기 오러 와.
So and I'm not saying the company is bad or the boss is bad, but in order for his company to do good, he gives job to other people, right?
제 장아 아니 전화동에 내가 야보 채셔와 나도 내가 야보는 나도 타마 대나지 아니 나도 추쇼라 또마 보아던 좀발라서 저랑 갈아 받체 맞체와 저랑 갈아 로파 조던 텔렌 조셔와 되는 나도 아니 콘돌라야 아니 또마 피하다 작업해 제 여기 요래.
So you do a good job, and I will, give you work, and I will give you, the wages like that. So just like that, it says, in order for your practice, to be good, your practice to be successful, and you make offerings, to make offerings, of the black tea offerings or the beverage offerings and the torma offering to the elementals and to the Dharma protectors.
제가 다 된데까지 어제다 다 땡이 상절람도 제바다 다 노동으로 가지 되게 땡이 상절람도 줬어야 되게 다 된다 노도 가르고나 소소라지 땡이라고 어떤 되게 땡에는 소소 냠내데 유샤야 말레스 되게 땡에는 소소 냠내데 약당 터와잖아 땡이 상절람도 집에 냠내데 연구요레스 다대 고다.
So converting the adverse conditions into the path to enlightenment is basically, in short, making sure that whenever you face some problems, that doesn't cause you to leave your practice or reduce your practices. Instead, help to enhance your practice. So then, if you are able to do that, then you have converted the adverse conditions into a path to enlightenment.
뭐다 된데 용도나 아니 다 소소 조사도 자고 제거 따래 제가 소는 거 토야고 싸매고 따래 아니 다 단다 아니 군조는 줘봐다 아니 뭐 벌어 좀 단다 또 마다 제고 요레스.
And so this should you should convert them by through actions, like by engaging in these 4 activities, right? Accumulating merit. And like when you're facing problems, that means you don't have enough merit, or you have created so much negative karma. So therefore, you engage in those practice of accumulating merit and purifying the negativities, and to be successful in that, you need help from others. Therefore, you make offerings, of beverages and torma, to the spirits, nagas, and the Dharma protectors.
제가 당가서 대 스프레드 나가는 것도 미세게 하고 말 가리나 간지 조사 조장체 그래 조사 조장체 야수도 연락이 냠내 되래 대체는 리데거다 되는 리데거와.
And so the making offerings to the nagas and spirits, I don't know, I mean, it is something that's done on the basis of belief, right? So if you guys don't know about it, then it's hard to have the belief like that. So don't worry about that. The main thing is to accumulate merit and purify negativities. And for that, the best practice is to do the seminal practices.
Okay, and the Dandangan Lama Tsongkhapa and Revi Gadel Hajing Yamle the Chevana, Tatel Hago Mare.
And then for that, if you do it on the basis of the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, then there's no better practice of seven limbs than that.
Okay, Cheda Gitana, the Shijago that the patient Yoa, the Malamna, actually the Karena, some good was.
And so I'm going through the text a little bit because otherwise you might wonder what is he talking about. Right?
Okay, that thing is Nichado, Dodon, so I touch you check your canter. Tap there.
So this is my attempt to give you this a short information about the practice.
Okay. The Jumang of the Chingy Shadolo Yaju sharing method, and I go to the Jana Shumat, such a Shumal Madogida. And then I channel Lam-rim lost in a Mambo Yorte, called Mambo Yorte, Paraco, Chomja Jam Tated Malawi Morris.
So now we have gone through that section of converting the unfortunate circumstances into the path to enlightenment through thought and through action. And we're not going to go through that. I don't think there's any further explanation needed on that. But of course, there's more detailed explanation in the text, so you can read through them. But basically, I've already given you the short explanation about that already. So next time we're just going to go through meditation, just like we do in other subjects. We'll just meditate on that.
Okay. But I tell you, some of the question what Tambo Chingy Shantalam just said, can you change about the Shomayana, take it change in the Susu Yameta and a structure much as you much as I teach it is.
So this can be divided into like 3 parts, right? So like, whenever you face difficulties or problems or suffering, then don't make that, to lose your practice or reduce your practices.
And the King of the Yonsa to the Kawana Ranch, but with Chinson, dance the Tiga, dance the Tionga, and a Dameta, and a Matabat Gomes like you but.
And then these problems, they come from the self-cherishing attitude and self-grasping ignorance. And so therefore, meditate or contemplate on selflessness, emptiness, and impermanence.
That Tendi Cheto Kayana, and it Tate China Sosa de Japome, and the Sosa de Janti, and the Yanati Yamne, Top Chetan de Bust, and the Janko is what that test on the day.
And then when you're not able to do that well, that means you have so much negative karma and not enough merit. So therefore you have to engage in this practice of accumulating merit and purifying negativity. So these are the 3 main points here.
Cheza Changato Pena Meji Nagiona, Nata the Tria, Mesagona, or Chan Subo Joe to Hint and Jutum Delana, men judge the Suboya Yaposo, Kalayaposago, this or what was Tamati.
And so, like for example, if the person is sick, and has to take a medicine, but the medicine, he cannot digest the medicine, and then the medicine will not be helpful. So, in order to be able to digest, he has to make his body strong. So then he has to do something else to make his body strong, like by eating properly or eating good food and strong, healthy food, make himself strong to be able to digest the medicine. So it's just like that.
Okay. Like that. Do you got anything to the test that is similar to Dodo or Kish Rasmus?
So did you get anything? Did you find some information to take with you or no?
제가 가서 점검을 좀 송송 왔어. 나도 대강도 강가를 깨야 돼요, 배나. 그게 대니 내 대니 파초대니 대만 보일로 대카잖아 수수 삼여 태명이 잘 오도 대 군도 송송. 대 내가서 다 내가서 간지 대인 저거 말했어. 수수이 nye lokche sabakala 아니 수수랑 그 삼로지 다 수수 될어야 가로 넘다 가로 직 속으로 간지 수수 고와자고 송송와.
So like His Holiness said, also that it's that we listen to so many teachings. So you listen to teaching here, teaching there. You read this book, that book, and then at the end you have nothing, to take with you. But that's not very good. So and after reading all these things or listening to all these kinds of, you have to find some short information to take with you.
제가 아니 대소수 대서 검자고 소소 봐. 소수 별 삼던 안에 단데 누구스레죠. 내 누구스레죠. 배나가도 칼라도 녀와나 아니 잘로서 자 살로서 차 담발로서 카카루거라 티소로 버려 봐. 장어 담발루니 칼라 레벨 칼라 담아 냠들루니 칼라 심어 차거로 대로 소고 그래서.
And so, so then you have to be able to find this, practice, that find the gist, of that information, and then you apply that into practice. So it's just like you buy all kinds of food, all the spices and all kinds of food, vegetables, and all these things, right? From the store, when you bring, you have different place, to keep them, right? There's a box for this, box for that, or container for this, container for that. You keep them all separate. But then you have to bring all of them, when you cook them together, and then we put everything together, to make it tasty, right? And so, the practice should be like that also.
제가도 대시 제베칼라 코 카카카 자다. 스물루 칼라야. 안에 바다 전루 담죠 담바전 담반 연습 거는 냠들랑 소원지 코 강가 제시고 말로. 코 카카 샤샤나 아니 냠는도 말로.
And so, so when you listen to the teachings, you can listen from here and there, everything, right? And then you have to be able to see that teaching as an instruction to yourself. And then once you have seen that, then at the end, you put that into practice.
Okay. This is very important. Okay, every day. I'm sure you guys. I know you guys are writing that. Writing, leave that. The next week you just bring back. Writing. Maybe you have 5, 6, 7, 8 books in notebooks complete you read. But if someone asks you, okay, where's my notebook? They will not like that. If you just read something, you cannot, maybe put together all of what I talked about. Just something to small things. Okay, like that. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Any broken questions?
I have a question, Geshe-la.
Yes.
So we don't have dormas. We don't.
Yeah, therefore, I said, don't worry. You don't need to tormas. I just do the sublime practice for the Kurukulla Center.
Okay.
This enough all that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you don't know even the tormas have also you have to go different virtues, different texts. Then you say, okay, what the text? You have to difficult. Then you don't have to follow that. Just this is how the text explain, but you don't have to follow like that. There's a purpose to purify negative karma. It's just do the sublime practice. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Also, Geshe-la, I find this is so helpful. I just really want to thank you so much for your attention to detail and helping us understand. Because we're all starting, it's nice. It's nice to have your description and your definition. It's so helpful. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now, thank you. If you don't have question, I have one question from the Laura. And then Laura 가서 저한테다 그러고 제시란 뜻이 그 제시란 뜻이 그러고 제시는 뜻이 많이 가르쳐 쳐버려서 뭐 저한테 되래. 다 땡아들이 아니래. 보기 있어.
What was the question, Laura? Did you ask? No, just kidding. You remember?
Yeah, I actually got that question sort of answered by Geshe-la, but I can ask it again. It's a question more relating to Buddhist psychology and about the difference between, I was going to ask a different question, Geshe-la, today, but okay, I'm going to go back.
No, first, I would like to make that clear your previous question, okay?
Okay, so my question was, why is the self-cognizing mind not deceptive or mistaken?
제가 아니 제가 아니 다 라린 동에 대 아니 다때 전화도 치지나 셴바도 치지나 권유지 말해 라린 동에 대 샤라마와 말해 너 대바 샘섬마 오마라제 봤음도 되고 요레스 아니 너 대와당 아니 오마 타니바니 되고 말해스
샤라마
만동에 대 샤라마와당 아니 오마 타니바.
So anyway, so maybe for others' information, I'll go a little bit more explanation about self-cognition. So what is the self-cognition, right? And what are the philosophical schools, that believe in or that assert self-cognition? So there are among the 5 schools of the 5 philosophical schools or tenets, Vaibhashika, Sautantika, Chidamatan, and then 2 in Madhyamika, the Sautantika Madhyamika and Prasangika Madhyamika. So among these 5 schools, the first Vaibhashika and the Prasangika they don't assert the self-cognition. And the other 3 schools, like the Sautantika, Chidamatan, and Sautantika Madhyamika school, 3 schools, they assert the self-cognition.
Oh yeah, 다 제자 안에 라리랑 예세비 차와 켈랭 그래서 자라마와 말은 도대와 말어. 도대와 당 샘섬 오마라제 바스면 예세비 차와 켈랭 그래서.
And then these 3 schools, who assert the self-cognition, asserts, to be a direct perception.
And 예슬라 마트비 시바미 차와 켈랭 바데 코나도 좀 다르스.
And because it is is asserted as a direct perception, therefore, if it is a direct perception, it has to be unmistaken. It's there. It's there.
대처랑게 좀 다나데다 오마라제가 가도들 요리 좀대 지습이 좀대 나타나.
So if you look that in the tenets text, you'll see that in the Sautantika Madhyamika and Chidamatan and Sautantika school, there assert those the self-cognition to be a direct perception.
그래요. 제자가 안에 다 안에 배나 간제 군수고 노동으로 가르쳐야 되는 배나 시바다 테마 배나 분들미시다와이나 분들미시 테마 조제때 대 학교에 라리 되레스 라리 테마 마이나 분들미시 코너 테마 요마 코라라도 그래서 그래서 점다 두드레스
분들미시대.
분들미시 테마를 왔어 분들미시 테마에 봐 드제 가래 아니 분들미시 냐뇨 라룽에 대 코테마 하고와 연자 아니 코테마레스 코투적 그래서.
And so, like for example, the eye consciousness, apprehending the vase, right? Apprehending the vase is a valid cognition, right? And it's a valid cognition because there's a mind behind that mind which sees that as a valid cognition, and that's the self-cognition. So because there's the self-cognition which cognizes that mind, that valid cognition, apprehending the vase as a valid cognition.
And the teletes negotiation upon the lenses at a laser sembar what that is semba de lende mulova to big shipati rari de mena lende cromeva charter, Tumta cromeva charters. Chesa rari de samari, kana lende mulovati kuto yores lavares.
And then after other talk is the thing about it is is that when I talk about karma is a mind, right? Karma is a mind, and then the karma and its result is infallible. We call it infallible, right? If you get a good karma, you get a good result. If you get a bad karma, that's the infallible. And the karmic result is infallible. Is cognized by what? Is by the self-cognition. If there is no self-cognition to cognize that, then there will be no infallible karma and its results. And so that's mentioned by Lama Tsongkhapa, in an explanation of the essence of eloquent speech, on the interpretive and definitive meanings.
어디 안에 코로나야 두제 심바질라야 라뇨 라룽에서 마뇨나 라니 테마바 루마레스 코로나 냠스님이 코 테마바 하모나 아니 코로나 테마바 초 말레스 데레다 라링에서 때 자샤 잔네 자 테마인 거레스 가르나 히바드 테마 디제티 앤 라링에서 레스라.
And so what you are experiencing, and it has to be known by yourself, right? If you don't know that you're experiencing it, then there will be no experiencing. Right? So therefore, and when you know yourself, that's the self-cognition. Knowing that, then therefore it has to be a valid cognition. If there's no valid, if there's no self-cognition, that's a valid cognition. Then there will be no experiencing, no self-experiencing.
Okay. Then 내가 지. 다야 텔레 아니 렌 투어잖아. 라링에서 때 아니 라니 참아들 이나는 때래. 이나는 때다 이나는 별로라 티셔 많이 차그래서 오고도 도 그래서.
And then the self-cognition, is it's non-dualistic mind, towards its object. So if it is a non-dualistic mind, then it has to be unmistaken also.
예, 제단 티셔다 세마기 심텐데 아니 도대와다 셈소마 오마바 라지 봤으면 시작 말해. 아니 단지바는 티셔인 세마기 요청을 그래서 결론이.
Tushayina?
티셔이나 세마 많이 잡아대 오마라지바 셈소마 도대와도 결론이 그래서. 티셔이나 세마 많이 잡스. 제가
알아요.
오마라지블은 오마 타니블은 티셔인이야 세마기.
Semang, So these three schools who assert the self-cognition, to be valid cognition, to be a direct perception, and asserts that if it is a valid cognition, it has to be unmistaken. But whereas the Prasangika Madhyamika school it says it's not necessary. Even if it's a valid cognition, it can still be mistaken.
Okay.
Thank you, Geshe. Just one follow-up question to that.
Yes.
I understand why it's not mistaken, but would that also apply to it not being deceptive? Because those two things are slightly different. Deceptive and mistaken.
나 가서 만화와다 맞춰봐서 집어라 그래.
집어넣어라. 다 집어넣어 말해.
예.
집어넣어라. Yeah.
So I mean, it depends on the context, right? Depends on the context. It could be same. And again, so it depends on the context. So, well, in what context are you saying?
Just in the context of, I guess, the schools that believe in the self-cognizing mind.
So yeah, in this context, it will be same.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
It's clear?
Yes, it's very clear. Thank you.
Okay. Jennifer?
Geshe, how can it be how can it be a non-dualistic mind if, in the example of the I consciousness observing the vase, the self-cognizer, the object of the self-cognizer is the sense consciousness, the I consciousness? Wouldn't that be a dualistic?
So in the value cognition apprehending the vase.
Yes, in that example, you said that there was the valid cognition of the I consciousness apprehending the vase, and there's the self-cognizer that apprehends the I consciousness, right? So isn't that?
제가 텔라 개가 나와 예체 다데 나와다 구조 나와니나 그 시바데 코라마지 참아되면 შემ밖에 안 나고 말이지.
Yeah, because usually when you say dualistic, right? The dualistic is when you see two separate things, right? And two things, with a different entity. So, but to the self-cognition, it only sees the mind apprehending the vase. It doesn't see the vase.
tenyi 저기도 가나 코나 시전 내가 양가와 집에 가로 지지 tenyi 말하기 tenyi 시쇼다야. 전 maybe marker Laura 라는 tenyi 시다.
What's the definition of self-cognition, Laura?
A mind which eliminates itself.
Okay, Jennifer, give me a definition. 가나 코나 시전 내가 양가와 집에 가로.
So it's I mean, I don't know exactly the exact word, but what it is the mind that looks inwardly and discards the separate apprehensions. So like inwardly, it's looking inwardly only. So looking inwardly, that's the main thing, So it only sees the mind itself. It doesn't see anything else.
Okay, it's good. Okay, sorry, other people, this for different question, but this is for philosophy. this is a Buddhism science. I think we already study also, how you say, mind and mental factors. Also, we already study the tenets. Do we study tenets?
Did we study tenets?
Really?
I think a long time ago.
Long
I
time.
think yeah, we did meditate. Yeah, like tenet kuzo kaka yori kanje kun dotan kaka tamta kuzo dotan kaka yori.
Laura 드린 게 뒤워여서 뭐라.
Okay, what are your question? You have another question, Laura?
Laura?
Oh, yes, sorry. My other question, Geshe-la, was why is this, in a bodhisattva who is having a direct realization of emptiness, why is the second moment of that mind that a bodhisattva is having, that mind of a bodhisattva directly realizing emptiness, why is it a direct, valid cognition and not a subsequent cognition? Why is the second moment of that mind valid cognition and not a subsequent cognition?
돈영에서 또 샹초 선바티.
Tony wants to be Chanju Semgi, because Tony wants to be Tema, Tony wants to be Lodi Roda. Chanju Sembi, you get Tony wants to be Lord Kitchen Yubati, and Karshan and Tema Mares. Karshan Temares, Karshan Cheshe Mares.
제에다 코사토를 바인베시스.
Kitchen Yubati.
야, 계지면
Tosu
코사도.
Toba.
가지 도서 제당 도서 도서에 대 가지 세망감이 셰발을 맞는 그런 거 똑똑을 대자 네제 테마레스. 도서 도바세 세망감이 셰파 많이 메레라 코리안 좀 동에들라 아니 텔라 가디 셰발을 때는 도거나 도서 도바스. 아니 되게 또고 말해. 코로나도 똑똑을 그래.
So the second moment of the wisdom realizing emptiness within the continuum of the Arya Bodhisattva, is a new cognition. That's why it's the valid cognition. It's not subsequent cognition. Subsequent cognition is the continuum of the mind, that that has not completely degenerated yet, and then you come to realize that again. So realizing something that you have realized, something you have already realized again. So that's called the subsequent cognition.
제가 샤조 선바 되게 아니 계신 이바데 아니 계신 돈 보고 또 발라 땡고 말해. 되게 셰발라 따고 말해. 되게 니발라 따고 말했어.
So the second moment of that wisdom realizing emptiness within the continuum of Arya Bodhisattva doesn't have to depend on the first moment. It's the new generation at the second moment. And the second time it's this new generation itself. So therefore it's a valid cognition, not a subsequent cognition.
Thank you.
Okay. 테네도 남지 라그레스 있나다. 코 세도 가르 잡자로 왔어.
Yeah, so that's the statement, but of course doesn't mean that you can't argue on that.
Okay, thank you. It's wonderful to study you guys. Also, you guys can also, discussion yourself, what you understand. You can just send text message, emails each other, but it makes also different understanding. For example, Karen can understand another way, Deborah can understand different way, and Laura can understand different way, Margaret can understand different way. If you guys have different ideas, then put together makes more clear. The monks debate, same teacher, same author, same object, they get debate. They say, why, you are same teacher, you same book, same author, what, but because they are all different understand. Then there are so many different sources too, Okay. Okay, now we stop. It's over time.
Ji perki jukshi mektok drum, re-rabbling jimni kempati, sange jingdu mikte wagi, drokun namdak jingla chirpa shuk, jitun lame kutse rabden jing, namka trin le chok gepa dang, lo sang ten pedre me sasungi, drowe mun seltak tu negyu chig, idam guru ratna mandalakam niryatayami. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in life till samsara's end. Savior of the snowland teachings and transmigratory beings who extensively clarifies the path that unifies emptiness and compassion. To the lotus in the hand, Lord Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech me all your holy wishes be fulfilled. You who uphold the subduer's mortal way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior, myself, and others, your disciples, please, please live long. Through this virtue may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious supreme Bodhi mind, may where unborn arise and where born never decline but increase forevermore. Made say we ter chen chen rizik remake in bei wang po jam pil yang dang chen ke pe tsu gen Tsongkhapa lo sang drak pe java so wa de. Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you, Damchula.
A couple quick announcements. Monday night, Dr. Nick's class tomorrow. There will be no class. So we'll resume again next Monday. And then on Wednesday, Geshe-la continues commentary on Heart Sutra. We're still at the beginning. So if people haven't joined, it's still a good time to join anytime. And then Geshe-la will have one-on-one meetings immediately following here.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Please save everyone. Be rejoice whatever you have. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Geshe-la.
Geshe-la.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
everyone.
Bye-bye.